Join us as we explore Taksim Square and one of the most popular streets in Istanbul, Istiklal Street. Browse hundreds of shops, cafes, and historic sites on the way. Highlights. Stroll down one of the most popular streets in Istanbul to explore the shops, cafes and historic sites. Admire St. Anthony's Church and learn about its Italian heritage. See the unique blend of old meets new as you walk down Istiklal Street. Every visitor to Istanbul must visit Istiklal Street at least once. It's one of the most popular streets in the city for locals and tourists and is often so crowded that you get carried along in the mass of people. So take a break from the busyness around you and join us for a casual walk around this famous area. Istiklal Street is a pedestrian mall, but there's an old tram that runs down the middle, so watch out for that. Istiklal Street is the place to go for all your shopping needs. You'll find everything from small boutique stores to big international brands. There are also many restaurants, cafes, bars and clubs. At night, Istiklal Street is one of the busiest spots in the city. Meet your guide at Taksim Square and take a tour of all the main attractions. Don't forget to ask for tips on where to go for dinner. Istiklal is also home to many international embassies, luxury hotels, apartment buildings, churches, museums and theaters, so it will be an interesting walk with lots to see. Let yourself be surprised by its history, its architecture, its neighborhoods and surroundings by walking and starting our excursion in Taksim Square and then through the glamorous Istiklal Street. As well as this place, we will visit many more, which we detail in our itinerary culminating in the Galata Tower, symbol and viewpoint of the city of Istanbul. Taksim Square and Istiklal Caddesi pedestrian streets are the centers of Istanbul. Currently under construction, this square and street are crowded day and night. Neighborhoods around Taksim Square are very interesting and very different. These neighborhoods that are populated by young wealthy bohemians, Galata, Sahancı, Karaköy'ü, are not far removed from some popular and even some disreputable neighborhoods, Tarlabaşı for example. Approximately 10 years ago all neighborhoods around this square were deemed dangerous. Today you can walk everywhere without any problems. Istanbul is a safe city. The Istanbul Cultural Center is located in the Beyoğlu district. In the neighborhoods of Sahancı, Galata and Karaköy'ü you will find a multitude of art galleries and trendy shops. The Galata district is located north of the Golden Horn, a position that separates the old city center of what was the ancient Constantinople and what is now the historic district of Sultanahmet. Historically this area was a colony of the Republic of Genoa between 1273 and 1453 as well as the financial center of the Ottoman Empire until the 19th century. You will discover at the bottom of the Galata district the old Bank Street, Bankalar Caddesi. In this street we advise you to visit the Salt Museum. SALT is a non-profit foundation engaged in renovation and in the reconstruction of the archives of the Ottoman Empire. Located in the beautiful building of the former Ottoman Bank, it houses temporary exhibitions, a library but also a section devoted to the Ottoman Bank archives and a very good restaurant. Admission to the museum is free, closed on Mondays. Afterwards, be sure to walk back up towards the impressive Galata Tower, Galata Kulesi, which was built by the Genoese in 1348 and is 60 meters tall. We recommend you go up and take in the view. The panorama of the city is spectacular. Street Serdar Ekrem Street is fashionable, and in this vein you will find many designer shops and very nice bars. If you still want to enjoy a spectacular view of Istanbul, visit the terrace of the Hotel George for a drink. Do not hesitate to get lost in the narrow streets. Then go towards the pedestrian avenue Istiklal Caddesi, traveled by nearly 3 million people per day on the weekends. You will find cafes, restaurants, international schools, embassies, shops and galleries, a nice mix of everything. We suggest you go venture into neighborhoods Asmal and Tunal at night. See our article Going Out in Beyoğlu, and the day up the avenue to Taksim Square. On this avenue you can go to the 360 restaurant, bar with a magnificent view of the city. Perfect for a drink and relax. It is simply magical. Later you will also find the St. Anthony of Padua Church hidden behind a wrought iron gate. It is one of the largest Catholic churches in the city. Built in 1913 in the Italian Gothic style, it hosts various Catholic communities. You can also see the Galatasaray High School, which is the best known and most famous in Turkey. It is also the only French public school. Unfortunately it cannot be visited. A little higher up, have a look at Sisek Passage, Flower Passage, a famous Rococo-style passage where there are a lot of restaurants which are expensive and of poor quality for what you get. The passage is very beautiful, but not for food. Try and eat in the small streets of Nevizade next to the fish market, or go to eat Durham restaurant Durhamzade. See our article about street food. If you want to taste good authentic Turkish cuisine, go to Hasi Abdullah. See our article about specialties. Then continue up the avenue to Taksim Square and walk down to the neighborhood of Cihangir. This is currently the fashionable district in Istanbul. It overlooks the Bosphorus and offers a breathtaking panorama of the city. Stars of Turkey and influential people in the field of art, fashion and entertainment reside in this very cosmopolitan area. The area is quite residential, but it is very nice for its cafes, bars and bohemian lifestyle. It is comparable to the Marais in Paris or Soho in New York. If the weather is nice, go to 5 Cat Bar restaurant where you can enjoy a coffee or an aperitif on the roof of a building overlooking the city. In this neighborhood there are plenty of bars and restaurants that we love, one of our favorite being Smyrna. There is even a party atmosphere in the early evening some nights of the week. Another place we like to relax is Algakov Solanya Baorto, where you can play cards, ping pong, billiards, backgammon. All while drinking tea, of course. Next to the Cihangir district you will stroll through the Kukurkuma neighborhood. This is the antique and vintage district. You'll find everything here and do not hesitate to haggle. In this area you can visit the Museum of Innocence, Museumiyet Müzesi, which opened in April 2012. Initially the Museum of Innocence is the title of a book by the famous Turkish writer Orhan Pamuk. This museum houses many objects referred to in the narrative. In Istanbul's medieval core, traffic is heavy and one-way streets make routes circuitous, so walking is often the best way to go distances up to 1 km, 0.6 mile. For example, the 2-kilometer, 1.2 mile, 25-minute, walk from Sultanahmet along Divanulu to Bayezid Square and the Grand Bazaar takes you past many interesting old buildings and shops. You could travel this route via tram, but then you wouldn't get to stop and visit the sites along the way. The walk downhill from the Grand Bazaar along Uzunsarsi Kadesi through the Tatakal district to the Egyptian Spice Market and Eminönü is one of my favorites, an utterly union touristy tour through the heart of Istanbul's local crafts and shopping district. You can take a taxi from Sultanahmet to Taksim Square, but it's more fun to take the tram downhill to Eminönü, stroll across Galata Bridge, then take the Tunnel underground train uphill from Kayarok.